Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming at you again with another vid. Well, it looks like Joseph Parker's not wasting any time. He'll be going back in the ring, and what date he'll be coming back in the ring? Well, yeah, he'll be back in the ring about within 62 days, I believe so. Uh, Once again, I gotta say, give a shout out to him for a very, very tough win and a very good and great heavyweight scrap against Carlos Takam. And his next opponent is no other than Soloman Haumono. And you know what's funny about this is that I actually stated this could possibly happen in my last video on my review on Joseph's performance against Carlos Takam. So, as soon as this fight got announced today, some of the Kiwi fans are quite disappointed about this, and rightfully so. I can understand why, because Joseph just came off a very, very tough win, and perhaps probably the most highest grossed and exciting, important fight in New Zealand boxing history. Where Joseph had to go up against a very dangerous and pretty avoided heavyweight Carlos Takam. So, and he just came through that win, and now a lot of expectations are on him now. So, he should be fighting opponents more on a world level, like a Burmese Vern, which, by the way, Dave Champion and I had a little discussion about that in my video. Shout out to him, by the way. Go check out his content. He does cover heavyweight boxing, so I'll definitely put a link to his channel so you guys can check it out and subscribe. He does have great insight, so check it out. He said that maybe you shouldn't fight a guy like Bernays Tavern right now because, given the fact that was a very tough fight they had to endure against Carlos Takam, so you don't want to rush him. Don't want to rush him too early, which he does have a point. But I would argue that instead of fighting the mono, and this is to the Kiwi boxing fans, you do have every right to be disappointed about this fight. I would have liked to see him fight maybe a Johan Duhapis. I think that would be a good warm up fight before he takes his gets a shot against Anthony Joshua. So I think that would have been wise. But again, the mono fight is not quite disappointing from my perspective. And hear me out, guys, because Amano is definitely not a. I don't think I just say he's not really on a journeyman level. The reason why I say that is because yes, he's definitely not the same fighter that he was in his younger days. But he's still in shape. He still has some decent technique. But I would say though he is incredibly slow, and his reflexes have totally diminished over the years. Now, mind you, some who don't know who Soloman Haumono is, he's had some. The only notable fight that he had on his resume is against Kevin Johnson, and this Kevin Johnson, we all know, who recently retired. Well, he didn't recently retire. He retired about almost 2 years ago after being knocked out by Anthony Joshua, which is the first knockout of his career. Kevin Johnson had KO'd Haumono in their fight back in 2013. And this is the same Kevin Johnson who KO'd Alex Leopai 2 years, or actually 1 year prior to that. And we all remember who Alex Leopai is, the former Australian heavyweight who had fought Vladimir Klitschko 3 years ago, I believe. So, yeah. But obviously, his greatest win on his record is against, I'll say his greatest win, his notable win is against Kiyotaro Fujimoto. And we all know that Kiyotaro Fujimoto was actually scheduled to fight Joseph Parker at one point. He signed on the contract. He was ready to go and fight Parker in New Zealand. But seeing that the way Parker viciously knocked out and brutally knocked out this German fighter, I can't recall his name. Parker knocked him out so badly to the point that Fujimoto called up Duco, called up Dean Lonergan, and told him that he's going to back out of the fight. So he blatantly ducked Parker. But needless to say, speaking of ducking, Haumono and his manager were at the press conference today. About the fight. Joseph was there with his trainer as well, Kevin Berry. I think this was Haumono's trainer. I don't know. But he stated that Parker's team ducked Haumono twice, and the fact that Soloman has been trying to get an opportunity for a long time. he was signed on to fight Huey Fury, and which is interesting, he was signed on to fight Huey Fury. The next you know, I don't know, for some reason, Huey Fury backed out of the fight, and then recently Huey Fury turned out a fight against Dillian White. So I don't know what's going on there with the Fury camp about this, unless somebody can shed some light on that, because I'm looking at the article right in front of me where he was just signed on to fight Huey Fury, but I don't know what happened to that fight. So yeah, somebody please shed some light on that. Let me know in the comment section below. Then his trainer and manager, I believe, had also went on to say that David Haye approached Haumono's team for the fight. They said yes, and then Haye backed out of the fight, which I would believe. So they elected to fight. So he elected to fight Mark DeMori instead. And the Lucas Brown situation, which we all know, that Haumono's team had offered Brown $1 million to take that fight, whatnot. But yeah, he's claiming that again, Parker's team had ducked Soloman twice. Well, I kind of find that hard to believe because it was Duco who actually offered a contract to Soloman Haumono, which and his team turned it down. They turned down the fight. This was a year ago. But when Joseph vacates his regional title, which Soleimano was a mandatory challenger to that title, he just coincidentally calls out Parker, saying that he's ducking him. He's ducking him. He's ducking him. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say that you ducked the fight initially, then you're going to come out and say that this particular fighter ducking you because of the fact that he gave up the title just to, pretty much have bigger fish to fry on the world level, which you turned down. So I'm not buying that argument. Now, maybe the David Haye and the Huey Fury situation, yeah, I could buy. But as far as the Huey Fury situation, please somebody let me know about that in the comment section below because I find that kind of strange. So anyhow, Soloman, he's actually coming off his win against Manuel Pacheta, obviously overweight guy. And that fight was kind of strange. A funny, somewhat mild, entertaining fight. And this fight was actually on the undercard of Jeff Horn versus a way over the hill of Randall Bailey in a welterweight bout. And Jeff Horn is a pretty exciting fighter. I suggest everybody, keep an eye out for him because he'll be taking on the world scene pretty soon. So look out for Jeff Horn. But other than that, watching Haumono's fight in his style, yeah, he's a come forward pressure fighter. But again, he is pretty slow with his punch coordination. So watching him in his last few fights, especially against Pacheta, nah, he's not going to beat Parker with that style. No way. And yeah, some people will argue, well, Takam was pressuring Parker and he had success. Well, we have to understand that Carlos Takam is a way better fighter on the world level than Soloman Haumono, who is still in his prime to a degree. And we all know that he gave Joseph a lot of trouble in that fight. He had decent hand speed. He had respectable power. He hurt Joseph in that fight on several occasions, and he was able to wear him down a bit. So, yeah, Suleiman's not going to do that to Joseph, and I expect Joseph to really get through this fight with relatively ease. I shouldn't say that because no heavyweight fight is going to be easy, but then again, looking at Suleiman's technique and, looking at his punch coordination, his footwork versus Joseph, yeah, I say Joseph will get him out of there no later than 4 rounds. Speaking of Joseph, I've learned that he had an elbow injury going into the Takam fight, which reduced his power. Well, I mean, which is true. You can reduce your power to put muscle in your punches to 75%, as he claims. He'll be taking some time off, so he'll be spending time in Dubai and I think some time in the UK as well, from what I've read. So he'll be resting that elbow, so he'll be getting back. As soon as he'll take some time, well-deserved time off, he'll get back into training camp, and he'll be resuming his schedule with his fight against Soloman Haumono, which is actually scheduled for July 21st, which is about 2 months away. So he ain't getting that much rest, but it is what it is. So he's staying busy. So the only thing I would like to see Joseph do is really, really, really improve his defense. I would like to see his guard up a little bit more. Don't keep those hands way too low, especially that left hand. So especially if he's going to go into a fight against Anthony Joshua, yeah, he's going to have to really, really improve his defense tremendously. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to drop a link to the articles below. And I'm going to drop a link to the press conference too as well, the video press conference. So care to comment, share, subscribe. Signing off. Peace.